before we left there, Gareth mentioned the inclusion. I can't remember the name of the competition. What is it?
Is it the Johnston Spain Trophy?
I would like to know, show of hands. Does anybody
EFL
think this
Super
is a
Trophy?
good idea for Sunderland to get involved in this?
One.
One.
Oh, he's been told off. Two. There's two.
Yeah. Is that just from a selfish point of view that our players will play against league clubs?
Well, only the kids, yeah.
Yeah. Do we not think it makes them? What do people on the panel think? Do we think it makes
I've got
a mockery of the?
I've got a bee in me bonnet about this. So
Come on then.
Gareth, going on one.
We'll sit back and let you.
Thanks for coming.
We'll sit back and let you vent then.
I mean, so I guess there's a gentleman over there saying about if it was just the kids, but it's a fact you can play 6 players over the age of 23, and it's under 23 anyway. That's ridiculous. So say Jermaine Defoe's injured, and then, if you're a manager, you're going to go, well, what competitive football have I got to play him in? Well, I've got this game up coming against Rochdale or Hartlepool, something like that. I'll play him in that game. If you're Rochdale or Hartlepool, so firstly, I would say that I don't know how seriously the teams in League 1 and League 2 take the Johnston Spain Trophy, whatever it's called now, the Football League Trophy. Very seriously. He's got a tattoo of the trophy, is it? No. He's a big fan of the trophy. He's very offended. But yeah, seriously, it just, to me, it just seems bizarre. It's like, I just think it's more about the culture of football now, and that it irritates me, and it's his attitude. Well, if it's all right for the youth players who play for teams in the Premier League, then that's fine. That's okay if we get to play our players in a competitive football. Like, they've done us a favour. It's like, why did the Football League have to pander to the Premier League every time? It's not we aren't necessarily going to be in the Premier League. I mean, we've been in the Premier League. This is the longest time we've been in the top division of football since, like, of English football.
50s or something.
Yeah. So it's not always going to be that way, and I just don't think it's right that it was so Premier League centric and so Premier League focused that we should take advantage of these sorts of things. I just don't think it's right.
To me as well, there's another issue here, which is clubs don't even want to play the first team in the League Cup. So what do you want to enter another cup to play more players in? You've got a league for
if the under 23 if the under 23s play, then I guess there's an argument to say, well, from a purely football perspective,
point of view,
from Sunderland Football Club would say, well, that's all right for me then, because we can play these.
Put them in the League Cup.
But then it goes back to my argument about loans, and like, obviously they've changed the loan system this summer, which is you can't have short-term loans anymore until it'll be 6 months or 12 months. But there needs to be more pressure on Premier League clubs to give youth players an opportunity to play first-team football. Now, whether or not they're good enough is irrelevant. It's about if they've got a responsibility, that player, they don't want to play, and they can't let them rot in the under 23s for 3 years and then send them out to Southend or Blackpool or something like that. If they aren't going to make a decision on that footballer, then they have to say to them, listen, we can't play you in any competitions, we can't loan you out, so we're going to have to let you go. And then he might go to, a team in League 1, League 2, do what he needs to do and thrive and come out. Look at someone like Duncan Watmore, who was obviously playing in Altrincham when he was 20, 21. We've got players who are 17, obviously Joel Osorio making his first team debut, I guess you could call it, in the friendly, scoring a goal or whatever. I think it's this line between at what point do you think it becomes selfish, and at what point, you've got to take into consideration other football clubs in the pyramid. And I think the Premier League, I just think have dropped the ball on this one. I think they should have, held their hands up and maybe said, listen. But they're never going to do that. And and all this thing about, I know Liverpool fans have gone, well, we aren't competing in it because, we've got some sort of like semblance of, I don't know, like morality or whatever. Tell you what, if the other 10 football clubs or 9 football clubs in the Premier League aren't competing in that competition, wanted to compete in that competition, they would. It's not because they feel bad for the Football League teams. That's garbage. It's because they don't see that competition as any benefit to them, so they won't do it.
Because they will play their under 23s in the League Cup.
That's a reason why Chelsea have entered, because they've got 90 players out on loan.
I think that whole Football League trophy is a total abomination, because clubs in League 1 and League 2, they don't get very many opportunities to go to Wembley and play in a final. And that opportunity is now going to be taken away from them, more or less. And the Premier League clubs are going, oh, well, we have these kids and they need an opportunity to play first team football. If you want to give your kids first team football, put them in your fucking first team.
Yep.
Don't stockpile them.
Yeah.
Don't have 50 different players.
Can I put in?
And no Premier League team should have anything to do with that competition. It's a disgrace. And I think I read a thing yesterday where this diktat has been handed down to the Football League clubs, saying that they can be fined $5,000 if they don't field what the FA considers to be a full-strength team.
Well, mate,
but no such sanctions are going to apply to the Premier League.
Sorry to put in, I'm an Orient fan, yeah. I've come here on a whim. I go to Sunderland away games when they're in London, and it's absolute bollocks that this thing's come about. Literally, the JPT is, as you said, a good chance for a League One or a League Two team to get to Wembley. It's a big day out, 40, 50,000. It's not going to be like an FA Cup or anything like that. But for me, as a fan, to see the Premier League absolutely piss on the whole football tier system, which they have done, and there is clubs that they haven't even entered the system as well. It's sacrilege, It's frustrating to see as a fan. I mean, the JPT itself is not, it didn't exactly hit the heights until you get to the latter stages anyway. But for me, I've seen the draw for my team. I'm a Leyton Orient fan, and we've got Brighton and Hove under 21s away. You know what I mean? How exciting is that? It's made my year.
I think the ground will have about 300 people in it.
It's absolutely in the Amex Stadium as well, 28,000 or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's a complete farce.
It's just frustrating, and I just don't think they care enough. I mean, if a player is good enough, as you said, give them a chance in the first team.
If they're not, sell them and let them go to Leyton Orient. And
you
play
see
for them.
How many teams that have filtered down for the system, and then if they're good enough, stick a buyback and then buy them back. Good That's stuff. All I want to put in anyway. And
well said.
Well done. Round of applause for that man. So that mic's working okay to go around now. I want Paul, you said Michael Paul to read this question out. The hands up one.
Paulie. He's out. He's in a different postcode.
Aye.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
I know. I didn't give you the question, but I'm sure you can remember it.
For the people who are watching this or listening to this,
the survey, you want people to put their hands up.
You might remember.
Is it?
He needs a card.
No, sorry, about the safe standing.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's I'd completely forgotten about. It's a double-edged question.
Only 15 minutes ago.
This week,
we are
bear with us. This week, the Football Supporters Federation declared that they were going to sort of bring on a campaign to get the away football fans back down to pitch side. We fucked the away fans up off into pardon language. We moved the away fans up into the gods, didn't we, like Newcastle have? And they're bringing back a campaign to bring them back pitch side. At the same time, somebody, I've forgotten because I've had too many drinks, but somebody has brought forward an idea for safe standing. I think Celtic have just done it.
Yeah, Celtic have just tried it.
But there's also talks in the Premier League to do it. Obviously, you've got the whole Hillsborough thing that nobody really wants to go into to get past. But I'm just wondering what the panel's views are on, obviously, if you bring the away fans back down to the ground, how do we go about doing the safe standing thing, which I think a lot of people want. I used to be in the south stand. I'm lying. I used to be in the north stand. I got moved for the away fans to go upstairs.
How many drinks have you had?
Sorry, Barry. No, you're right. I'll give up. But yeah, my question is, how do you feel? How does everybody think about what could potentially happen? Yeah, cheers.
I knew he'd remember his question.
To me, like, this is something that I've sort of thought about quite a lot, I suppose. I used to sit in the south stand as well, and I moved back to the north stand. So it was just, you've got a situation where you've got a lot of people standing in seated areas, and it was just doing me head in, because there was loads of kids, like 15 to like 10 seats, and they were all like just idiots, basically. What you could do if you brought away fans back to pitch side, what they do in Germany, they have safe, like, real seating for away fans as well. So you just have a real seating section for the away fans in a corner, and I think that would work perfectly. You could just...
Sorry, could it work in Sunderland?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean,
I would put
them in the southwest corner.
Personally, I would personally do the whole south stand. I think you see all the south stand.
It's home fans.
No, but it was a double sort of sided question, wasn't it? Where
okay, so like
home
you've got
fans
the home and the
bringing
away
away
next to each
fans
other.
closer to the pitch, which I don't have an opinion either
To be
way.
honest, I disagree with it.
Would people have safe standing?
Disagree.
Yes or no? Like yes, show of hands.
Safe
if you would have
standing.
standing brought back.
That seems like a majority to me.
Quite a
I think
large
it's
amount of
totally
people.
understandable. If you can stand up in other countries in a safe way, you can go. I can go to a concert at the stadium I like and stand up. But if I go and stand up at a football game, I can get kicked out. It's ludicrous.
I think as well that anything that helps to improve the atmosphere at Premier League grounds, because some of them, I don't think Sunderland is one, but the atmosphere in a lot of Premier League grounds now is very sterile. You know, you go to Anfield or Arsenal, they're like libraries a lot of the time. And safe standing, it is safe and it will improve the atmosphere and give more people access to games.
I don't see the. I think like the whole. I did read about the FSF. I mean, I've been involved with the FSF myself as a national council member and stuff like that, and I did read about the initiative around moving people closer to the front, but it's kind of a bit of a funny one, really, because it's one of the worst seats you can probably have if you're really interested in watching the game, being right down at in row one. I mean,
great.
I don't know if I paid
stand in there.
If I paid 25, 30 quid for a ticket to the match, which is going to be 30 quid cap now, I don't think I'd want to sit in row one. If it was safe standing, it might be different.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Put the stand in there. Like you used to have paddocks for a reason.
Safe standing
didn't
absolutely has to happen. I mean, it's happening in Celtic, and it absolutely has to happen in England. You've got to give people the option, and opportunity. When you're milking the football support for the money that they're being milked for, you've got to give them the opportunities and options. And
ultimately,
a lot of people want it.
People are going to stand up anyway. I'm sure you've all been to away games, especially being based in London. How many people sit down? Yeah. If you had an option where you could sit or stand, then great, because like there's older people who get to away games, they don't want to stand up for 90 minutes. Let them have a sit. Right. And then the other people who want to stand up and make some like atmosphere.
Give them the option. There's nothing wrong giving the option.
That's the ranting out of the way for the two subjects we've just had. Matt, where's Matt?
Where's Matt? Matt's got a question about goalkeepers.
Matt has a question. So what is all? I think it's a good question. This one. It's going to be a poll. We'll let Matt ask, and you can raise your hand accordingly.
Right, I just thought I'd do a quick poll.
Guys, while listening,
it's hands up so everyone can take part. Hands up for Jordan Pickford to start the season.
Less than I thought that, if I'm being honest.
And hands up for Manone. That is surprising. I thought it'd be closer.
Pickford's made mistakes in pre-season.
Is the general guys?
Right, settle down.
Is the general opinion? Do you think that's changed a little bit? Right, listen. Can I just ask people?
That's not me.
Another raise of hands. The people who put their hands up, particularly for Manone, maybe 6 months ago, would you put your hand up for Pickford? Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Is this Manone's return to form in the last 6 months then? Which is fair enough, isn't it? That's all we can judge people on. Go on then. He's been dying all. We'll give him a platform. He's been dying all show. This lad. Come on, you got the stage now. This better be a fucking good question, man. He's been trying all day. He's been trying.
He's got a Greenaway kit on.
I think we've given the
20 quid
microphone to a loose cannon.
You're standing right in front of the camera there as well.
Yeah. Turn round.
Oh, fantastic.
Right now.
Turn round, that's the camera.
Hello,
there
everyone.
You go.
I would say Pickford should be number one this year. However, Manone has had a very good pre-season. Thank you very much.
Why Pickford?
Well, that was worth the wait.
That's insight.
I tell you what, nobody can ever accuse us of not being incisive.
Nobody's topping that.
Yeah. Get one of the banter questions.
I know. They haven't put half of you didn't put your name on these. You weren't listening to what I was saying.
Read it out yourself.
Give that one a Ryan.
Barry's in there getting involved.
Greg, first of all, Greg Harding. Greg's asking whether supposedly in brackets the budget of £20 million. I didn't fucking say it, Greg. I just got told, all right? I'm putting that down. I just got told that 20 million quid. It's not
He's
me
ITK
saying it,
now.
right?
He's got an agent account on Twitter.
I'm not going to drop the person in who said it.
He's ITK.
That's just what I got told.
He's a liar. He's saying he's a liar.
I know, I did definitely get told. I'm not just making it up. I promise you.
Doesn't mean it's true.
I promise
Doesn't mean
you.
it's true.
Anyway,
It doesn't mean it's
not
true.
very, this isn't very good for the
Right,
people who
yes,
are watching
come on.
and listening
Next,
at home.
guys, come on.
Right, I didn't write this, but whatever. Which current SAFC player would you most like to see on Love Island next series?
Now you're talking.
On what, sorry?
On Love Island.
On Love Island.
Craig, you said you watched this. Me and Gareth didn't have a clue what it was this morning when we were talking about this.
Does it have to be an ex-player or can it be current? Current, it's got to be Seb, hasn't it? Can you imagine Seb? They'd be swooning.
Will there be oil? Would he be
Great question.
white
that.
with oil?
Respect.
Brushed? There's another question about Seb.
Well,
do that
yeah,
one.
on that line, on the same lines as somebody wants to know, they didn't put the name on it. Who do you think would be the most sensitive lover, Seb Larson or Fabio Barini?
Barini. The thing is about the
Larson, innit?
Swedes. The thing about the Swedes is that, as in the words of Graham Taylor, they're of a more outdoor pursuit. So they'd be quite aggressive, I think. It'd be
Gareth's
very
got
much a matter
strong
of
opinions
fact,
on this, so I'll let him go with it.
Did you write this question, Gareth?
To the event, I think Barini would be more tender. He'd probably involve roses or some sort of floral arrangement. There'd be a dinner involved, and then we'd have a conversation about what was going to happen afterwards. Whereas Seb, I think, would be more forceful, not in a bad way, not in the wrong way. We've had enough of that at the football club the last 6 months. But I think Seb would be very much more matter of fact about his approach, and you'd have to be very much in his mindset. That's my thoughts. I haven't thought about it before tonight.
Yeah, no. It
Clearly
doesn't
not.
sound like it, no.
I think if Seb Larson is as accurate with his dick as he is with his free kicks, you'd be waiting a long time for satisfaction.
He hasn't pulled in 3 years. Anyway, move on.
Harsh.
We have a question from Anthony that just says Jack Rodwell, question mark.
Yeah. He's injured.
The answer's no, isn't it? Surely the answer's no.
Come on, give
That's one of life's great philosophical conundrums, isn't it? Jack Rodwell question mark.
He's right.
There was a question. Someone put it on Twitter. I remember. Said, what was it? Maybe David Moyes could get the best out of Jack Rodwell. And my response was, he's David Moyes. He's a football manager. He's not Jesus. And that's probably where we're operating. I mean, he's got a lot of issues, obviously, Jack Rodwell, hasn't he? I mean,
one of them is he's not a very good footballer. It's probably
I don't think he's a bad footballer. I just think he's missed a lot of football, hasn't he, in the prime of his career, and it's going to be difficult to recover. Right. Sorry. Am I saying David Moyes isn't Jesus?
He's a very naughty boy.
I mean, that's it. It's not, that question wasn't on the card.
In pre-season,
Is David Moyes not Jesus?
I don't think he is. No.
he's been playing Jack Rodwell at like right back. Is he going to play him in the defence?
Well, we've seen
right back, centre back.
We've
Is
seen.
that for fitness?
We've seen great Sunderland central midfielders of the past go at full-back like Dean Whitehead and Craig Gardner, so why not Rodwell? Following a great tradition of shite, playing at full-back.
Has anybody still got
I'm all
hope
for it.
Has anybody still got hope for Rodwell or not?
You know what, joking aside, I actually
seriously,
quite like him. I wish he would.
All joking aside, fitness, injury-free, pre-season, does anybody give him a chance?
I'd love him to succeed, but he's one of those players that you look at his feet and he can't move his feet quick enough, and I don't know if that's a toll of injuries or whatever. He's got everything you'd want for a midfielder. He can strike a ball, but he can't. Not on target, but he can hit it. Bit of work on the training pitch, he's fine. No, seriously, you do. He seems like a nice guy, doesn't he? You want him to succeed. You do want him to succeed, but
to be fair,
it just doesn't seem to happen for him.
On that point, like every time we got beat, which is like a lot. He's the one who they farm out and do the post match, and you kind of feel for him because he's not the most popular lad, is he?
Not amongst the fans, no. But he seems like a popular guy, maybe in the dressing room, which does count for something sometimes.
It's not like I ever said he was going to score the winning goal against Leicester before that game. We'll all forget about that one.
What a moment!
Somebody's asking a question in your own name. We're talking about Ellis Short there, and I think some sort of like half joking earlier, had a little bit of a pop at Ellis and stuff. But on the other side of this, you need to be careful what you wish for, because this person's asking here, Ellis Short, do we feel his patience might be wearing thin in somewhere? That he's invested, hasn't he? He obviously gets bad advice from people who are probably not qualified enough to advise him. But I don't think people can really accuse him of not investing, can they? Really?
It's a really hard one, isn't it?
I personally think that Ellis, to be fair to him, he gave a lot of money to Keane, gave a lot of money to Bruce, and he's obviously, there's a reason that season ticket prices haven't escalated, and it's probably because of him, because he will put the money out of his own pocket to make sure that people who live in the northeast of England or wherever they might, I'm sure there's season ticket holders in this room who travel up for the games, make it affordable, and like those season ticket prices have not escalated, so he'll probably keep on top of that. I think he's probably been badly. I think the whole badly advised line's a little bit. I don't know. I think he's probably a strong enough person to make his own decisions, and whether he knows enough about football is a question in itself. But I don't know. I mean, I think I haven't got a lot of issue with Ellis, because I think he has back managers, and now in the last few years we've been clawing it back.
Question from the back here.
Apparently.
I've got to say that Ellis Short, the amount of money that's in the Premier League right now, there's no gambles. Everyone thinks that we need to be like bowing down to Ellis Short, and fair play to him. If you think of like the last 10, 20 years for Sunderland, then fair enough with Murray and stuff like that, but Ellis Short, then there's that much money involved in the Premier League right now. He's not taking gambles. He knows what he's doing.
What, so you think he might want to sell a club, perhaps? Is that what he's saying?
I'm not saying that he wants to sell the club, but he's still making money out of the Premier League because there's that much money. There's billions involved in the Premier League right now.
I don't think he's making money.
I
think he's covering. We're making a massive £25 million loss every season.
There's a saying, isn't there, in football, that the only way you can become a millionaire by owning a football club is being a billionaire when you buy it in the first place. I'm not sure where owners are making.
Well, that's why we all go,
money.
isn't it? Because how much money the chairman has. That's the main draw to the football.
Barry, got a question from James Scott. Can you remember the question, James, or do you need it? He'll remember it, James.
It's a question for Barry. As a listener of the Football Weekly, why is Jacob so miserable?
Jacob Steinberg. For anyone who doesn't know, Jacob Steinberg is a colleague of mine who appears on our Football Weekly podcast sometimes. He's not miserable, I would say. He's just... I don't know. He is miserable, isn't he? Yeah. He's a real nice bloke. He just doesn't tend to get excited about very much, apart from West Ham.
I was going to say, well, he is a West Ham fan, isn't he? So.
Deirdre, who's here on the mother of all dates, she has asked, and I would be genuinely interested to hear my fellow panellists, their view on this. What do you honestly think success is for Sunderland?
Mid-table mediocrity.
Let's
have a cheer for mid-table mediocrity.
That's the dream. Deirdre,
that is the dream,
you
right
spelled
there.
success wrong, by the way. Not to be overly critical again, but...
That is very
seriously,
Sunderland,
that's it.
We spelled success
No,
wrong.
short term. We had that under Bruce, didn't we? And we weren't happy.
We didn't get the stability.
A little bit, kind of.
I think it's a different thing, though, because we've been in the Premier League, 5-6 years. We were hoping that things would happen. They didn't happen. And things haven't happened for like 5 years. The same things happened. We've been good from March and then to May, and then bad things have happened for the rest of the year.
Is the dream really to be Stoke?
No, I don't think it. My personal view is that it's about when you go to the game, like as a paying punter, we're not going to win
I just want to see him win 10.
We're not going to win the
games.
league. We're not going to finish in the top 4, whatever. What I'd like to see is a team that's competitive and enjoy. I want to see a team that enjoys playing, and I think we saw that back in the last season.
Would the podcast still be interesting if we were just like,
I just
bobbed along mid-table?
I just want to see a team that
Didn't really say
enjoys
anything.
themselves.
Had nothing to talk about.
Seeing moments of quality and it would be a bit boring if we're really good, wouldn't it? Like, let's be honest.
No.
We'll get sick of it.
Listen, Janet, you can't shout demands and ask us to ask your question if you're not going to ask it yourself. You can read it out yourself. Come on, Janet.
Who would have thought it would be
I
bedlam
don't
in a
think
brewery?
she needs a microphone, to be honest.
We're building up to something here.
Come on, this better be good.
Right. Do you think
I tell you what, the editors, whoever are doing this, are going to have a
management of
canny
the club
effort.
has gone down since my hero, Niall Quinn, has left?
Do we think what? Sorry?
Repeat that.
Management of the club has gone down since my hero, Niall Quinn, has left.
Yeah, I think so.
I do.
I think is it not the perception though? Is it not the perception that it's worse because we haven't got the connection? I think like when Quinny was there, obviously you heard a lot more. You heard a lot more stuff on the grapevine, and there was probably a lot more loose lips. Since Quinny left, it's probably been a little bit more shut down. I think it's probably more of a football reason overall. When now we're in a situation where Barry will be particularly familiar, I'm sure, where there's absolutely nothing you can get out of anybody because it's vetted by 5 press officers or something before it gets out, and that's the situation we're in now. The lack of relationship, probably I would argue, is not down to someone like Niall Quinn. It's down to a change, in the way football's covered and stuff like that, and people aren't willing to put as much out there anymore because what's the value in it if you're going to get ripped to pieces. So I think people are a lot more introverted now in approach to football.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Janet. I think I agree with you. For once. I don't think Margaret Byrne was very good.
Well,
as
controversial.
chief executive. And I'm slightly concerned. I'm not going to claim to know much about her successor, but I do note with some sense of foreboding that he was quite high up in Rangers when they had their little meltdown with the taxman. So I don't know what his involvement in that was or how directly responsible he was for their tax avoidance issues, but just the very fact that he was there at all and is now the chief executive of Sunderland will be definitely a source of concern for me. I don't know about anyone else.
An ideal fit.
That was one of the first things that I thought when we employed him. I mean, look, that doesn't mean he's going to be a bad appointment, but it doesn't look good, does it? It's done.
There's a question here. Right. Somebody's mentioning that Peter Reid said the northeast of England was always a hard area to attract players. Why do you think this is? That's a bit fucking rich when you've moved down London, mind, whoever said that. I can't believe I've just read that question out, let's be honest. What's the impression of the northeast here then? Who wants to live in the northeast? 3 of us here? Yeah?
I'm in between moving back.
Yeah, somebody's moving back. He's got the right idea. What's the perception of Barry the northeast?
I think the perception of most Londoners of the northeast, and I stress Londoners as in people born and reared in London, not me, is you're all 6-fingered yokels. No, I don't think that it is definitely more difficult to attract a footballer to a place like Newcastle or Sunderland or Middlesbrough, although Middlesbrough seem to be doing a good job attracting them there this summer.
Money helps.
To one of those places than to London or Manchester maybe, and I'm not sure why, because footballers tend to live in little bubbles anyway. The gated community and the big house, and they don't.
We can't sell the cost of living to them, can we? That's
they don't,
irrelevant.
They don't really go out, and you're not going to bump into one in Tesco or whatever.
To be fair, I saw Fraser Campbell in Marks and Spencer's in Sunderland twice. So
You posh bastard.
yeah, I wasn't doing my full shop there. I was just getting bits. It wasn't a.
And
a
you
full
saw
full.
Sean Thornton in the.
No, I did. So Sean Thornton once. I went to the cinema to see a film, obviously, like you do. And after the film, Sean Thornton came. This was after the film. He was in the same film as me. He was in an all silver tracksuit, like you do, bleach blonde hair. Came out after the film and ordered nachos and a hot dog after the film, and then left. So I wonder why he didn't crack on.
Whatever happened to Sean Thornton?
He wasn't very well. Stephen had an altercation with Sean Thornton.
I want to put this as politely as possible. He was a fucking dickhead.
Well said.
We can't hear you. If you can ask questions, you need the mic.
You can't ask that question.
What do you say?
You can't ask that question. Keep the microphone away from this table down here. That's
Somebody's
my
asked.
advice.
Somebody's written. No. Somebody's written down. So Brexit, how's that going? We're not going there at all. We're not going there at all. We're not going there at all.
One thing I'm curious about, actually, just on the subject of Brexit, I'm not going to go there, don't worry. But just in terms of elections and referendums and that, why is Sunderland so good at counting? That they're always first in. Always.
Mint at maths.
Yeah.
We got beaten though, didn't we? Got beaten by Newcastle first time in a while.
First time in a long time.
First time in a while, but we lost. Extra fingers in it.
No, we're not talking about Brexit. Did you hear us now? Not,
Seen a good number
seriously,
player
we're not
earlier.
doing
That's
it.
about as good as it
Somebody's wrote Joe Lazaro ? People, well, we go on. Joe,
that was the question. So
yeah.
Someone else answer it. I have no idea.
Early impressions of him, because I know Proctor's mentioned him a few times, hasn't he? Previously, and said like how quick he is, and he played in the under-19s or something. Did they have a tournament this year? And he scored against England. He had a couple.
The thing about youth players is that you always, we've talked about, you always want to see them playing like above the age level, don't you? Like you don't want to see them like languishing in the 21s when they're 21 and then going into 22. You want to see them playing when they're 17, 18 in the 21s. And the Sorrow obviously has gone through there. Greenwood's another one. Gooch is another one who are playing over their age. So let's hope that they do something.
Out of all the young players, is Gooch the one people are most excited about?
I like.
Yeah?
I think I've seen Greenwood like a couple of times with the 18s.
Gareth loves Greenwood.
He does. Gareth's got a proper thing.
What other names? What other names are
movement.
there?
His
Gooch,
movement is
Greenwood,
really
somebody
good.
else? Anyone? Really?
There's no rules.
There's no rules. How many drinks does this guy have?
Too many. Too many.
The drink is.
Who do we have? Gooch or Greenwood? Hands for Gooch. Greenwood? No? Half the people didn't put the hand up at all. Like,
Well, because probably never seen him play. Like, why would you?
Because they fucked off down London, didn't they? That's Sean's fault.
All right then.
We've got a question from Graham about desert islands. Who's Graham? Here we are.
If you had to be stuck on a desert island with a Sunderland player, past or present, who would it be?
Craig, were you listening to that? Yeah.
Who was that?
Kevin Arnott before our time, I think. Who would you have, Gareth? Who would you be stuck on a desert island with?
Stefan
I think we all
Schwartz
know
for
what
me,
you
I
feel
think,
about
mate.
Larson, let's be honest.
Schwartz
You
for
made
me.
that quite clear in the last
Seems like a great
in the last
I
similar
reckon
question.
probably someone like Nyron, because you know he's a big, powerful bloke. You know, if you want somebody to like carry like wood about and that to make like some sort of makeshift, you know, a board, he could do that for you. I'd imagine like he went for right back to centre back, so you know he's adaptable, so you could probably like train him to like catch fish. Well, I say train him to catch fish. I can't catch fish myself, so I'd imagine that if you give him the opportunity, he would take that. And I would like that in my if I was on.
We'll learn a lot about Gareth tonight and his types, I think.
I was going to say, Gareth, is there not a choice for Greenwood, Barini or Larson for you on a desert island? After,
No. They were different things.
One question here about Fellaini, because we keep mentioning Fellaini, so we're back on other Sunderland stuff. And somebody's asking if we not think Big Sam proved in January you can go for imagination and good value and stuff like that. I'd be interested to know what people know about Fellaini.
Like Kadamangane.
I'm not going to say how much we've got to spend, right? I don't know. I haven't got a clue. Never been told anything. Would people be happy with, say, spending £15 million on Fellaini? Yes? So hands for yes? It's half still, isn't it? It's half still, isn't it? I mean, look, Moyes had... Guys, Moyes had a reputation by didn't he, at Everton, I guess. Probably what attracted Shaw to him. He said he tried to get him as manager 4 or 5 times anyway because he used to work on a budget. We're hoping that's not going to be the case with us, but that must be attractive, and he has history in that at least, Moyes, doesn't he? Bringing in, building a good squad without spending a lot of money.
Yeah, he does. I think it's a positive step forward, his appointment. I do know a couple of Everton supporting colleagues of mine were really fed up with Moyes towards the end of his tenure. They thought his team played very turgid football.
How many years did it take to get to that point, though?
Yeah, I think every manager has a shelf life, you know, and that's at a certain club, and people are going to get sick of you after a while. I think it's a good appointment. I think there's every reason to be positive. And I am happier he's in charge than I am that Allardyce was. And the thing is, I think Allardyce will do a good job with England. I mean, he can't do a worse one than Roy Hodgson, but I do think he could be just what the doctor ordered for England if he is let do things his way without FA interference, which seems really unlikely, but we'll see.
The thing with Allardyce, he's got that kind of ego and thick skin to do the job, like in the sense that if the press come at him, he can take it, can't he? I know that's the press, not the FA, but like he's not a yes man. I know it's slightly off topic, but
is that us going out in a positive anyway? I think it sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I like to thank you all coming. Yeah. You wouldn't think any of us worked in marketing and all, but we do. We forgot to mention that we're selling T-shirts at the back, so they've been there, just sitting there. Nobody even has a clue. If anybody's interested, they're at the back there. But I would like to thank you all for coming. Seriously, it means a lot to us. And when people come up and have a talk with us and have a beer with us, it means so much to us. And it might sound corny and cheesy, but we're really, really appreciate it. It was just an idea that started, and it snowballed more than we could have ever expected.
Stephen's had one good idea in his life, and
now look at it. We'd like to thank Barry for coming as well. He's came here just for the price of beers.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
So thanks for coming.